All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So Israel Adesanya deserves some props from us. Now, the title of this video is probably something about him going to war with Hollywood, and that's exactly what it is going to be about. But we're not talking about Chris Pratt. He did make some good points to Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt apologized. Actually, both guys get props for that interaction. What we're really talking about is we're talking about what Izzy said about the girl from Britain who had a friend with a plane who also had an island where he took a bunch of young kids, and then he also brought some really powerful people from Hollywood and other places to hang out with the kids on the island where there are no rules. Except there are rules. You know, kind of international norms that are generally expected as far as people to don't do that. You know, hey, I have an idea. I know you're in international waters, but how about you don't do that? And so it's possible that the person who's got the island might be collecting data on you, you know, might be collecting videos and things like that, so that when you, as a person who has a lot of power and influence, say, no, I don't think I want to do that. Well, here's a lot of money. Well, I don't need any more money. But what you do need is you need to make more money at some point in your life. And if we show them this tape, then you'll never make more money. And in addition to that, you will be shunned from society. So, yeah, I mean, that whole thing. I assume you know who we're talking about, you know? Then the guy went to jail and, oh my God, did he do it himself or did someone else do it to him? Well, everyone has that wrong too, but we'll talk about that. So anyway, Izzy is the first person to actually publicly go after that whole situation that was going on during the Johnny Depp trial. We'll talk about it. Before I do, though, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. This is a thriving hardcore MMA channel. Wait, what? What? It's a channel for hardcore MMA fans. And if you go into the comments, you will find the members of this community are all sharp takers. Sharp takers are guys with sharp takes. Girls in some cases. Sharp takes. So if you want to join the community, we would love to have you. So let's just start with this Chris Pratt thing. Sometimes people with a lot of reach just forget they have a lot of reach, right? Like it's like they just say things. Like you're still just a human. Like you're still just a person then. You might be famous, but you're just a person. And so every once in a while, you're just like, man, I was really excited for this fight, and now I'm disappointed, and I'm just going to say a thing. Like, man, if you're going to talk all that, junk. So he's like hardcore Christian, so I don't even know how to talk like Chris Pratt. But like, if you're going to talk all that mess, you really got to go in there and you got to show up and you got to put on a show. You really got to put on a show. That was boring, man. That was really boring. That was not a good impression of Chris Pratt. But nonetheless, I love his movies, just saying. But it was something like that. And so Izzy responded with, hey, dude, you're just a fan. I'm the guy. I think he said, I'm the man, actually. I'm the man, dude. I'm the one in there. You're just a fan. You're nobody in this world, which is accurate. And Chris Pratt immediately was like, wow, his apology was legit, dude. Chris Pratt's a good dude. He was like, you know what? I actually hate when people criticize my work and when they've never put anything on the line. They've never been on screen, you know? And that is why, just for the record, that right there is why, if you really listen to all the stuff that I say on this channel, you're going to have a really hard time finding me being very, very critical of someone's performance. Like where I'm like in a way where, I don't know, like challenging their effort or like challenging whatever without at least justifying why they would do it. Because if I'm not fighting in the UFC, I'm not in a position to do that. And Chris Pratt apparently is a person with emotional intelligence also, because he was like, you know what? You're right. I hate when people criticize my work when they've never been on screen. It's like, dude, you've never filmed a movie in your life. And you're telling me that I did a terrible job? Like, let's see you do it. Well, it's my job to critique people's things. Oh, really? Well, check this out. I think I could do a good job of that. Watch this. Hey, that movie that your best friend is in is garbage and made 1/100th, not even that actually, 1/1000th of the money that my movie made. And so that movie sucks. Look I can do your job. Now let's see you do my job. Go. Just go ahead. Give it a run, dude. Go ahead. Go make Jurassic World. You'll do awesome, man. I have a feeling you're going to be really, really charismatic. So anyway, he said he hates when people do that. He called himself a hypocrite and he apologized to Izzy. And I was like, look at that. Like actual class in 2022, you know, especially coming from a guy who has taken so much shit from a bunch of classless people recently, you know, like I don't know what to add to that. He's taken a bunch of shit from a bunch of classless people, and I think that he showed a lot of class apologizing to Izzy. Good on both of them. I'm sure they'll be friends now. But getting to the kind of meat and bones of this, we're obviously talking about, you guessed it, Ghislaine Maxwell. And Izzy made some statements that when I read, I was like, whoa, dude. Now, real quick, listen to me when I tell you this, okay? I have business partners that are in the intelligence, well, I mean, they're Navy SEALs, right? Dialed all the way up in the intelligence agency, SEAL Team 6 guys. And they told me directly that if you do not have a VPN, you are out of your mind, okay? IPVanish is the one that I use. You would be crazy not to use it. They have explained to me how easy it is for people that are on a public Wi-Fi or even near your house, how easy it is for them to get into your system and steal all of your data. Now, I know a lot of people who hear that just think to themselves like, okay, well, that's not really a big deal. I don't really have any data that I'd be concerned about. Yes, you do, dude. Yes, you do, okay? I'm not talking about just your web history, which they will get. I'm not talking about just your social media, which they'll get. I'm not talking about just your Twitter, which they'll get. I'm talking about your credit card information, your home address, if let's say you're out on the road, your home address auto-populates everywhere, right? Do you want a bunch of random people to have your home address? Do you want a bunch of people to have all your credit card numbers? And then you end up having to cancel every single thing. So I use IPVanish. If you use IPVanish, that is ipvanish.com/Jesse, Jesse, and you use code Jesse, which is JESSE, you will never have to worry about that ever again. You can buy an entire year for 70% off. It basically costs next to nothing, and you will never have to worry about this again. When this went around to my crew, everyone was like, well, I guess Izzy's just like chopped his likelihood of winning in half. You know, like that's how heavy it is. So let me actually, I'm not sure if I can read this out exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best, actually. Okay, so his quote was, Ghislaine Maxwell just got put away for 20 years, so she was supplying little people that are not very old for these people who like little people who are much, much older than them. I definitely cannot say that word. Where's the list? Is that just like goes over the head? I don't know. Kind of weird that it got no coverage, but Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were everywhere. Everywhere, yeah. The list of politicians and actresses and actors and whatever they talked about, does that just get swept under the rug? They don't get any time for actually those little people that are not very old? That's weird how it just doesn't compute with me. So I saw that quote and I was like, whoa, dude. Whoa. Apparently he didn't get the memo that if you have a lot of reach, you're not allowed to talk about that, dude. Like that is a topic you are not supposed to speak on if you've got a big platform. And the people who decide who gets a big platform generally, are pretty powerful. So like, as an example, hypothetically, if I was gonna just hypothesize why people in Hollywood wouldn't say a thing like that, it's probably because the second that they did, they would never get a job ever again. Like literally. Never get a job ever again. So exactly the same threat that exists for the people who went to the island exists for anyone who talks about it now. Okay? Exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same. Okay? They would still have their public image, but everyone would just think of them as like a has-been. It's like, hey, you remember when you were a big deal? Well, you're not anymore. You're a has-been. You're a loser. You haven't been in a movie in 10 years. They're all, I say $50 million. I'm good. They're all, has-been. Has-been. People get addicted to that fame, man. And so they just take it away. And that goes for anyone else, it seems like. Anyone else. Because otherwise, how would it not be the biggest story in the world given what we know about that story? Like as an example, if you were really going to dig under the hood on that particular story, it'd be like, so everyone knows that like all the most powerful people in the world are in that book, right? And so if we wanted to look in like the flight logs or something like that and see who was there, we could do that. Right? As a matter of fact, we have in many cases. So if anyone wanted to investigate like what happened, what exists, what evidence, what videos, things like that, they could. They could. But they don't. They don't do that. And so at the time when there was a feeding frenzy over that story, they had to give him someone, right? Someone had to get got. Someone had to get got. And who gets got? Who gets got? A non-existent member of the royal family in England that has absolutely no actual political power in the world. That was the biggest giveaway to me. Like all of this stuff, every single thing that strategically happened in that story was like it's like a bunch of people who understand how to manipulate society and they understand very specific rules, and so they just went by those, right? It's like, listen, we got to give them someone. There needs to be someone they could sink their teeth into. These people are rabid, man. So let's give them someone. They're all, well, who's the most worthless person we could give them? They're like, well, give him the prince. He has no political power. He literally barely exists. He's the least visible person. Everybody thinks of him as a party guy anyway. I mean, like, he's not going to be the king, so who cares? Just give him that guy. And so they give him that guy, right? And everyone's all, oh my God, look at him. He was with a girl that was 17. You're like, something tells me that there was much more depraved things going on than that, right? Like, that just seems like something that was probably on a list of depravity, right? Like from here to here. I would say that one was probably about right here compared to what you could get if you really looked under the hood. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to get too in depth into that particular topic because I don't want to, nuke this channel. But I will say this. So let's say hypothetically that you were a person who was working for the literal most powerful people on the face of the earth, right? Like the most powerful people on the face of the earth that run every single part of society. And you were responsible for getting influence over people who can't be influenced with money sometimes, right? It's like, oh, they have so much money, we can't push and pull them around just with money like we can with, like, I don't know, politicians and things like that. So like really, really wealthy people, what can they be pushed around with? Well, we've got this tape. Are you sure you don't want to do what we want you to do? Yes, I will do what you want me to do. Like, that's your job, okay? And you get caught, right? And these people really, I'm sorry. Let me rewind. So that's what you're doing. You're collecting that type of information on the most powerful people in the world. Now, what would keep them from whacking you out all along? Like, how would you be staying alive if that's your job? You are collecting on the most powerful people in the world. Like, how do you survive that, right? You've been doing it for like 30 years. How are you still alive? Like, you're in jail now. Well, okay. Well, that seems similar to someone threatening to kill you, right? Like, oh, you're going to do life in prison. Oh, okay, cool. Well, then why did they just kill you all before? Oh, well, that's because there's a thing called a dead man's trigger, right? So like, if I die or anything happens to me, everything goes public. Everything. All of you go down. Every single one of you go down, right? That's a dead man's trigger. So hypothetically, if he was in jail, I don't know, and he's facing life in prison, I would say most likely he would say, you guys got 2 weeks to figure this out, right? And so being that it became such an enormous story, they can't just walk him out the front door and say that he got away with it again. He has to die, right? Like he has to die, right? And so everyone is juicing for a conspiracy, right? They're juicing for a conspiracy. So maybe you give him one. It's like, oh my God, did he do it himself? Or did someone do it to him? There's your conspiracy. And in real life, he was like, thanks, guys. Yep, I got all my stuff. Just going to head out to the middle of the ocean for the rest of my life. Get some plastic surgery and we'll be good to go. Would be my guess, if things seem to be in line with what I would imagine kept him alive for 30 years, right? Out the front door, fake conspiracy, or anyway, so yeah, and Izzy is the only person I've seen with a public profile that brought it up. And I want to give him props for that because these are scary people, right? I don't know if I would talk about it if I had a platform as big as his. Certainly not if I do what I do now, because that's an easy way for them to just point at you and be like, yeah, him, no. So congratulations, Izzy. Props to you. And I think everyone knows the answer to your question. Why there's nothing that's going to happen. Because I think that they want to hold on to, the people who really run the show just want to keep all that, right? Like they just want to keep all that because all their leverage is gone in the event that everyone finds out, right? If everyone finds out, then what's this leverage worth? Nothing, okay? It's worth nothing. The entire point of the leverage they collected for 30 years is that they can control those people. The second that comes out, they can't control them anymore. So that would be my guess. Anyway, but I'm just one man with theory or two. So anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell everybody you know. Peace.